Hi there, everyone. Please don't adjust your screen. The giant Emma Stone that you're currently seeing is just because I am on the Wikipedia page for the Academy Awards for Best Actress. Oscar season is coming up, and there is nothing I love more than ASMR videos where someone's just rambling about a topic or perhaps a subject matter that I myself don't really care about a tremendous amount, but I find it to be very peaceful and therapeutic, especially for sleep. And now, someone watching this video might really care about the Oscars like I do, but even still, I hope that you get some level of relaxation out of this, if that's what you're joining us for. I'm just going to scroll through this Wikipedia page. I'm going to read it. I'm going to ramble, talk about things I like, any topics that might interest me. But otherwise, just sit back, enjoy yourself. Don't pay attention too closely. This is a great video to simply zone out to. Enjoy yourself. I'll read the bio and then we'll get into the charts of the nominees and winners. Here we are, the Academy Award for Best Actress. The Academy Award for Best Actress is an award presented annually by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. It has been awarded since the first Academy Awards to an actress who has delivered an outstanding performance in a leading role in a film released that year. The award is traditionally presented by the previous year's Best Actor winner. However, in recent years, it has shifted towards being presented by previous year's Best Actress winners instead. I remember at the Oscars last year, 2024, they had 5 past winners for every major nomination. That was really interesting. Continuing on, the Best Actress Award has been presented 97 times to 79 actresses. The first winner was Janet Gaynor for her roles in Seventh Heaven, Street Angel, and Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. The most recent winner is Emma Stone for her role in Poor Things, 2023. She had previously won the award for her role in La La Land, 2016. The record for most wins is 4, held by Katharine Hepburn. Frances McDormand has won thrice, while 13 other actresses have won the award twice. Meryl Streep has received the most nominations in this category, 17, and she's won twice. Deborah Kerr holds the record in this category for most nominations, 6, without a win, albeit in 1993 she was an honorary Oscar recipient. At the 41st Academy Awards, Barbra Streisand and Katharine Hepburn received the same number of votes, and thus tied for Best Actress, which is the only time this has occurred. Italian actress Sophia Loren became the first actor in any category to win for a foreign language performance in Two Women from 1960. We're going to skip right down to the chart because I think that's the most interesting part of this entire video. There was a video I made last year where I did Best Picture, so I think that following that same format would be interesting. So for the first ever Oscar ceremony in 1927/28, Janet Gaynor won for Seventh Heaven, Street Angel, and Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. In 1928/29, Mary Pickford won for her portrayal of Norma Besant in Coquette. In the 1929 to 1930 season, Norma Shearer won for her portrayal of Sherry Bernard Martin in The Divorcee. In 1930 to 1931, Marie Dressler won for her portrayal of Min Divot in Min and Bill. In the 1931 to 1932 season, Helen Hayes won for her portrayal of Madeline Claudette in The Sin of Madeline Claudette, in which she plays Madeline Claudette. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. That'll be pretty embarrassing if I'm not. In 1932/33, Katharine Hepburn won for her portrayal of Eva Lovelace in Morning Glory. In 1934, Claudette Colbert, I believe that's how that's pronounced, won for her portrayal of Ellie Andrews in It Happened One Night. In 1935, Bette Davis won for her portrayal of Joyce Heath in Dangerous. In 1936, Louise Rayner won for her portrayal of Anna Held in The Great Ziegfeld. Interestingly enough, she beat Norma Shearer for her portrayal of Juliet in the 1936 Romeo and Juliet. In 1937, Louise Rayner won yet again for her portrayal of Olan in The Good Earth. In 1938, Bette Davis won for her portrayal of Julie Marsden in Jezebel. In 1939, Vivien Leigh won for her portrayal of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, which fantastic old Hollywood movie. I need to watch more old Hollywood movies. Unfortunately, my expertise on old Hollywood doesn't really stretch beyond Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz, and I feel like that's the case for most people. Moving on to a new decade, the 1940s. For the 1940s, in 1940, Ginger Rogers won for her portrayal of Kitty Foyle in the film Kitty Foyle. In 1941, Joan Fontaine won for her portrayal of Lena McLeodlaw Asgarth in Suspicion. In 1942, Greer Garson won for her portrayal of Kay Miniver in Mrs. Miniver. In 1943, Jennifer Jones won for her portrayal of Bernadette Soubirous in The Song of Bernadette. In 1944, Ingrid Bergman won for her portrayal of Paula Alquist Anton in Gaslight. In 1945, Joan Crawford won for her portrayal of Mildred Pierce Bergeron in Mildred Pierce. In 1946, Olivia de Havilland won for her portrayal of Josephine Jody Norris in To Each His Own. In 1947, Loretta Young won for her portrayal of Katie Holstrom in The Farmer's Daughter. In 1948, Jane Wyman won for her portrayal of Belinda McDonald in Johnny Belinda. In 1949, Olivia de Havilland won for her portrayal of Catherine Sloper in The Heiress. Now moving on to the 1950s. In 1950, Judy Holliday won for her portrayal of Emma Billy Dawn in Born Yesterday. In 1951, Vivien Leigh won for her role of Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire. In 1952, Shirley Booth won for her portrayal of Lola Delaney in Come Back, Little Sheba. In 1953, Audrey Hepburn won for her portrayal of Princess Anne in Roman Holiday. In 1954, Grace Kelly won for her portrayal of Georgie Elgin in The Country Girl. In 1955, Anna Magnani won for her portrayal of Serafina Del Rose in The Rose Tattoo. In 1956, Ingrid Bergman won for her portrayal of Anna Koreff / Anastasia in the film Anastasia. In 1957, Joan Woodward won for her portrayal of Eve White, Eve Black / Jane in The Three Faces of Eve. In 1958, Susan Hayward won for her role of Barbara Graham in I Want to Live. In 1959, Simone Signoret won for her portrayal of Alice Aysgill in Room at the Top. And interesting, that same year, 1959, Katharine Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor were both nominated for the same movie, Suddenly Last Summer. Now moving on to a new decade, the 1960s. In 1960, Elizabeth Taylor won for her portrayal of Gloria Wondrous in Butterfield 8. In 1961, Sophia Loren won for her portrayal of Sisera in Two Women. In 1962, Anne Bancroft won for her portrayal of Annie Sullivan in The Miracle Worker. Very famous movie that I remember being forced to watch in middle school. Katharine Hepburn has been nominated so much. I know that I read that off in the beginning, but now seeing it as I'm reading the list is fascinating. In 1963, Patricia Neal won for her portrayal of Alma Brown in HUD. In 1964, Julie Andrews won for her portrayal of Mary Poppins in the film of the same name, Mary Poppins. And that one has stood the test of time. And 1964, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I hope I'm not, but I believe that Julie Andrews is the first name we've read who's still alive, the first still living Oscar winner. Moving on to 1965, Julie Christie won for her portrayal of Diana Scott in Darling. And interestingly enough, Julie Andrews nominated the year after for her second most famous role in The Sound of Music, playing Maria von Trapp. I think as we get to, closer to modern day, it might make sense for me to start reading out the other nominations since I think people have more of a cultural memory. Personally, this is my bias, but I know that I don't really recall many of the films that are listed pre-1970, but maybe once we hit the 80s, that's something I'll start doing. I read Darling, so we're on to 1966, where Elizabeth Taylor won for her portrayal of Martha in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Moving on to 1967, Katharine Hepburn is back, and she won for her portrayal of Christina Drayton in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Notably, Anne Bancroft was nominated as Mrs. Robinson for The Graduate. There was that tie we spoke about in the beginning. 1968, Katharine Hepburn and Barbra Streisand tie for Katharine Hepburn's portrayal of Eleanor of Aquitaine in The Lion in Winter, and Barbra Streisand's performance for Fanny Brice in Funny Girl. 1969, Maggie Smith won for her portrayal of Jean Brodie in The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Now, Maggie Smith, in my opinion, is best known for her portrayal of Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter, but I was unaware that she was a Oscar winner. Since I recognize so many names from 1969, maybe it's time to start reading them off as part of the list. Maggie Smith was nominated for Jean Brodie and she won, but Genevieve Bujold was nominated for Anne Boleyn in Anne of 1,000 Days. Jane Fonda was nominated for a portrayal of Glory Beatty in They Shoot Horses, Don't They? And Liza Minnelli was nominated for her portrayal of Mary Ann Pookie Adams in The Sterile Cuckoo. And Gene Simmons was nominated for her portrayal of Mary Wilson in The Happy Ending. Maybe reading them all out isn't the best. Maybe I'll just keep reading the winners and make some commentary for whatever I deem necessary. It's my video after all. What are you going to do about it? We're moving on to a new decade. We have reached the 1970s, where Glenda Jackson has been nominated and won for her portrayal of Gundrun Brangwen in Women in Love. In 1971, Jane Fonda was nominated and won for her portrayal of Bree Daniels in Klute. In 1972, one of my personal favorites, Liza Minnelli, won for her portrayal of Sally Bowles in Cabaret. Such a good show. Fantastic show. In 1973, Glenda Jackson won for her portrayal of Vicky Alessio in A Touch of Class. Moving on to 1974, Ellen Burstyn won for her portrayal of Alex Hyatt in Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. In 1975, Louise Fletcher won for her portrayal of Nurse Mildred Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. In 1976, Faye Dunaway won for her portrayal of Diana Christensen in Network. In 1977, Diane Keaton won for her portrayal of Annie Hall in Annie Hall, beating Anne Bancroft, Jane Fonda, Shirley MacLaine, and Marsha Mason. I think that's what I'll start doing now. I won't list what they're nominated for, but I'll list the actresses that were beaten. And in 1978, Jane Fonda won for her portrayal of Sally Hyde in Coming Home, beating Ingrid Bergman, Ellen Burstyn, Jill Clayburgh, and Geraldine Page. And closing out the 70s, in 1979, Sally Field won for her portrayal of Norma Ray Webster in Norma Ray, beating Jill Clayburgh, Jane Fonda, Marsha Mason, and Bette Midler. We're now entering the 1980s, and in 1980, Sissy Spacek won for her portrayal of Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter, beating Ellen Burstyn, Goldie Hawn, Mary Tyler Moore, and Gina Rowlands. Moving on to 1981, Katharine Hepburn, who just seems to keep on winning these things, won for her portrayal of Ethel Thayer in On Golden Pond. She beat Diane Keaton, Marsha Mason, Susan Sarandon, and Meryl Streep. That's the first time Meryl Streep's name has come up, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Meryl Streep. And, of course, the next year, Meryl Streep won for her portrayal of Sophie Zawitowski in Sophie's Choice, where she beat Julie Andrews, Jessica Lange, Sissy Spacek, and Deborah Winger. The following year, in 1983, Shirley MacLaine won for her portrayal of Aurora Greenway in Terms of Endearment. She beat Jane Alexander, Meryl Streep, Julie Walters, and Deborah Winger. The following year, Sally Field won for her portrayal of Edna Spaulding in Places in the Heart, where she beat Judy Davis, Jessica Lange, Vanessa Redgrave, and Sissy Spacek. Spacek. I really should know if she keeps on popping up. I'm actually unfamiliar with Sissy in her work, so maybe that's on me. Moving on to 1985, Geraldine Page won for her portrayal of Carrie Watts in The Trip to Bountiful, where she beat Anne Bancroft, Whoopi Goldberg, Jessica Lange, and Meryl Streep. In 1986, Marlee Matlin won for her portrayal of Sarah Norman in Children of a Lesser God. She beat Jane Fonda, Sissy Spacek, Kathleen Turner, and Sigourney Weaver. In 1987, Cher won for her portrayal of Loretta Castorini in Moonstruck. Cher beat Glenn Close, Holly Hunter, Sally Kirkland, and Meryl Streep. In 1988, Jodie Foster won for her portrayal of Sarah Tobias in The Accused, where she beat Glenn Close, Melanie Griffith, Meryl Streep, and Sigourney Weaver. In 1989, Jessica Tandy won for her portrayal of Daisy Worthen in Driving Miss Daisy. She beat Isabelle Adjani, Pauline Collins, Jessica Lange, and Michelle Pfeiffer. We're now entering the 1990s with a win from Kathy Bates for her portrayal of Annie Wilkes in Misery. Kathy beat Angelica Houston, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, and Joan Woodward. In 1991, Jodie Foster won for her portrayal of Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs. Hello, Clarice. Jodie beat Gina Davis, Laura Dern, Bette Midler, and Susan Sarandon. I think from here on out, I'm going to know every name. I got this, guys. Trust me. In 1992, Emma Thompson won for her portrayal of Margaret Schlegel in Howard's End, where she beat Catherine Deneuve, Mary McDonnell, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Susan Sarandon. In 1993, Holly Hunter won for her portrayal of Ada McGrath in The Piano, where she beat Angela Bassett, Stockard Channing, Emma Thompson, and Deborah Winger. In 1994, Jessica Lange won for her portrayal of Carly Marshall in Blue Sky. In that category, she beat Jodie Foster, Miranda Richardson, Winona Ryder, and Susan Sarandon. The next year, Susan Sarandon won for her portrayal of Helen Prejean in Dead Man Walking. She beat Elizabeth Shue, Sharon Stone, Meryl Streep, and Emma Thompson. Moving on to 1996, Frances McDormand won for her portrayal of Marge Gunderson in Fargo. She beat Brenda Blethyn, Diane Keaton, Kristen Scott Thomas, and Emily Watson. In 1997, Helen Hunt won for her portrayal of Carol Connolly in As Good as It Gets. She beat Helena Bonham Carter, Julie Christie, Judi Dench, and Kate Winslet. In 1998, Gwyneth Paltrow won for her portrayal of Viola de Lesseps in Shakespeare in Love. She beat Cate Blanchett, Fernanda Montenegro, Meryl Streep, and Emily Watson. In 1999, Hilary Swank won for her portrayal of Brandon Teena in Boys Don't Cry. Hilary beat Annette Bening, Jeanette McTeer, Julianne Moore, and Meryl Streep. We are not only entering a new decade, we are entering a new millennium. We are now in the 2000s. And kicking off the 2000s, Julia Roberts won for her portrayal of Erin Brockovich in Erin Brockovich. She beat Joan Allen, Juliette Binoche, Ellen Burstyn, and Laura Linney. In 2001, Halle Berry won for her portrayal of Letitia Musgrove in Monsters Ball. She beat Judi Dench, Nicole Kidman, Sissy Spacek, and Renee Zellweger. Oh my God, Sissy comes back to make me doubt if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. In 2002, Nicole Kidman won for her portrayal of Virginia Woolf in The Hours. She beat Salma Hayek, Diane Lane, Julianne Moore, and Renee Zellweger. In 2003, Charlize Theron won for her portrayal of Eileen Wuornos in Monster. She beat Keisha Castle Hughes, Diane Keaton, Samantha Morton, and Naomi Watts. In 2004, Hilary Swank won for her portrayal of Maggie Fitzgerald in $1 Million Baby. She beat Annette Bening, Catalina Sandino Moreno, Imelda Staunton, and Kate Winslet. In 2005, Reese Witherspoon won for her portrayal of June Carter Cash in Walk the Line. She beat Judi Dench, Felicity Huffman, Keira Knightley, and Charlize Theron. In 2006, Helen Mirren won for her portrayal of Queen Elizabeth II in The Queen. She beat Penelope Cruz, Judi Dench, Meryl Streep, and Kate Winslet. In 2007, Marion Cotillard won for her portrayal of Edith Piaf in La Vie en Rose. She beat Cate Blanchett, Julie Christie, Laura Linney, and at the time, Ellen Page, now Elliot Page. In 2008, Kate Winslet won for her portrayal of Hannah Schmitz for The Reader. She beat Anne Hathaway, Angelina Jolie, Melissa Leo, and Meryl Streep. In 2009, Sandra Bullock won for her portrayal of Lee Ann Tui in The Blind Side, where she beat Helen Mirren, Carey Mulligan, Gabri Sidibe, and Meryl Streep. Interestingly enough, I feel like the legacy of The Blind Side is tainted now that it came out that I'm forgetting his name. Was it Michael Orr? I forget the athlete's name, but apparently the family was quite rough to him, which is a damn shame. But still moving on to the 2010s, we are in another new decade. And to kick off 2010, Natalie Portman won for her portrayal of Nina Sayers in Black Swan, where she beat Annette Bening, Nicole Kidman, Jennifer Lawrence, and Michelle Williams. In 2011, Meryl Streep won for her performance of Margaret Thatcher in The Iron Lady. She beat Glenn Close, Viola Davis, Rooney Mara, and Michelle Williams. In 2012, Jennifer Lawrence won for her portrayal of Tiffany Maxwell in Silver Linings Playbook, where she beat Jessica Chastain, Emmanuel Riva, Quivanzon Wallace, and Naomi Watts. In 2013, Cate Blanchett won for her performance as Jeanette Jasmine Francis in Blue Jasmine. She beat Amy Adams, Sandra Bullock, Judi Dench, and Meryl Streep. In 2014, Julianne Moore won for her portrayal of Alice Howland in Still Alice. She beat Marion Cotillard, Felicity Jones, Rosamund Pike, and Reese Witherspoon. And let me tell you, Still Alice is a cutting movie. It is a film about one woman's battle with dementia at an early age, and it is just a raw movie. And I say that as complimentary as I can. 2015, we have Brie Larson winning for her performance as Joy Ma Newsome in Room. That year, she beat Cate Blanchett, Jennifer Lawrence, Charlotte Rampling, and Saoirse Ronan. In 2016, Emma Stone nabs her first win as Mia Dolan in one of my favorite movies of all time, La La Land. She beat Isabelle Huppert, Ruth Negga, Natalie Portman, and Meryl Streep. In 2017, Frances McDormand won for her portrayal of Mildred Hayes in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. She beat Sally Hawkins, Margot Robbie, Saoirse Ronan, and Meryl Streep. In 2018, Olivia Colman won for her portrayal of Queen Anne in The Favorite. She beat Yalitza Aparicio, Glenn Close, Lady Gaga, and Melissa McCarthy. In 2019, Renee Zellweger won for her portrayal of Judy Garland in Judy, which is quite interesting because I had thought that Judy Garland won the Oscar for Best Actress, but maybe she won an Oscar for something else that I'm unfamiliar with. She had beat Cynthia Erivo, who is likely going to be up for something this year with a wicked success. Cynthia Erivo, Scarlett Johansson, Saoirse Ronan, and Charlize Theron. We are moving into our last decade of this video, and we will be concluding shortly. But before we do, the 2020/21 season, that was a little edit there because of COVID and everything that happened with COVID, I believe. Frances McDormand won for her portrayal of Fern in Nomadland, beating Viola Davis, Andra Day, Vanessa Kirby, and Carey Mulligan. Moving on to 2021, Jessica Chastain won for her portrayal of Tammy Faye Bakker in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. She beat Olivia Colman, Penelope Cruz, Nicole Kidman, and Kristen Stewart. In In 2022, Michelle Yeoh won for her portrayal of Evelyn Kwan Wang in one of my favorite movies of the 2020s, Everything Everywhere All at Once. She beat Cate Blanchett. Oh, man. And as much as I loved Everything Everywhere, I really was rooting for Cate Blanchett because her performance as Tar in Tar was crazy good. But anyway, she beat Cate Blanchett, Ana de Armas, Andrea Riseborough, and Michelle Williams. And to cap it all off, 2023, Emma Stone won for her portrayal of Bella Baxter in Poor Things, beating Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, and Carey Mulligan. Well, I think that would be an excellent, excellent place to top it off there. But here's a little extra info chart if you were interested in which actress has won and been nominated the most. Katharine Hepburn has the most wins. Meryl Streep has the most nominations, which I just find to be fascinating. Wow. Yeah, I might as well do some superlatives. Jessica Tandy was the oldest winner. She was nominated at age 80 for her role in Driving Miss Daisy. And the youngest winner was Marlee Matlin for Children of a Lesser God when she was only 21 years old. But the youngest nominee was Quvenzhané Wallis for Beasts of the Southern Wild in 2013 when she was 9 years old. Being nominated at 9 years old, that is incredible. I'm going to go all the way back up to the top of the list here, but I just wanted to say thank you for sticking around. I hope that you got whatever it was you were looking for from this video. Typically when I go for rambling videos, I just look to zone out and nothing more. So I hope that if you were searching for exactly that, then you got exactly what you were looking for. Have a peaceful and restful and mindful night. Please consider commenting or subscribing or liking this video. But I hope you're well. Take care.